when you wait till the end of the month, you're actually loaning your company money for them to pay you, even though you've worked the 30 days.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So what is earned wage access? Ours is that we have a democratic belief that you as an individual, if you work today, you deserve to be paid today. So what we do is we tie up with your employer and we allow you as an employee to be able to use our app, our WhatsApp service, two-way SMS. We have an call center as well. And you as an employee, every day of the month, you'll be able to see how much you've made till that point in time. Click a button and you get the money instantly.
Amazing.
Directly into your account.
What's the name of the application?
It's called ABHI.
ABHI.
Yes.
ABHI is the name of the application, and all users can download it on their mobile. Interesting. Welcome to GNTALKS. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with the CEO of ABHI, Mr. Omair Ansari, a leading fintech company at the forefront of the embedded finance revolution. ABHI offers a comprehensive suite of solutions, including earned wage access, payroll solutions, and SME financing, aimed at driving economic growth and social impact, with partnerships spanning over 2,000 companies and recent recognition from prestigious organizations such as the World Economic Forum and Hub 71. ABHI is making significant strides in the MENA region. Join us today as we explore this amazing interview with Mr. Omair Ansari himself. Good morning and welcome to a new episode of GNTALKS. Please welcome with me today a very special guest, CEO Mr. Omair Ansari of ABHI company. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're very excited to learn more about the success story behind the ABHI company. But first, before we begin, if you could give us a brief about yourself and also about the company.
Absolutely. So myself, a bit of a misfit. I've grown up in over 10 different countries and moved around every 4 or 5 years while growing up. Then when I finished high school in Abu Dhabi, I went for university in Canada, and then for professionally, I was in investment banking for about 15 years.
Okay.
In London, New York, Dubai, Nigeria, and a few other places, always covering emerging markets. And the reason I fell into what I'm doing now and started ABHI was I saw very similar businesses being built in countries similar to the region. Okay. So we had invested in places like Brazil, China, India, parts of Africa, and credit-led fintech businesses that were disrupting how traditional finance was done and grew into very large entities, but started very small. Okay. And we were backing some of those companies. And so it was very exciting to see that happen. And having kind of lived in Abu Dhabi and also originally from Pakistan, I saw that there wasn't much happening in that space. Okay. So decided that this is something for us to kind of go and tackle and try and build, because if someone else doesn't do it, they will soon. And so why not be one of the first people to do it?
Amazing. So first of all, I would want to congratulate you to the success of the company. So initially, you started based in Pakistan and then grew your way to UAE, Saudi, Oman. Elaborate more. What's the secret business strategy that you have implemented in the business itself for the rapid speed of growth?
No secret. It's just hard work and trying to capture on to, I think, opportunity when we see it. We always had the idea of starting off in Pakistan because it was a large market and continues to be a large market for us. But our ability then to replicate that same business model abroad while keeping a lot of our cost base, et cetera, in Pakistan was something that we kind of made sure that we could do. And so for me, the segments that we serve on the blue-gray collar worker side, on the SME side, which I'll elaborate on a bit, it's very synonymous across all the geographies we operate in. So it was very much a idea for us to do it from the beginning. When that happened, to be honest, was a little bit of luck and opportunity. Okay. So we came to the UAE as one of our first places because through the Hub 71 program and Mubadala, they had approached us saying that this is a program to enter the UAE. Okay. And for us, it was very important to enter the UAE and base headquarter of Abu Dhabi because we saw that was kind of a kind of allows us to footprint ourselves as an international business. When we did that, to be honest, that's when Saudi started growing, and we started seeing a lot of interest from some of our investors over there. So we did a few trips, and we were able to get some anchor clients and test it out very cheaply to be able to see if this actually works. And we saw it worked and decided to scale from there. So everywhere we go to I wouldn't say is something that it was a broad plan per se that we said this is the time and date we're going to do it. But we know that these markets were ones that we wanted to eventually get into. How and when that happened depended on when market pull happened and opportunity when it presented itself. So. Yeah.
Interesting. There's a question that I always like to ask the CEOs about the name of the company. Why did you choose ABHI as the name of the company?
Absolutely. So ABHI means now.
ABHI means now.
Exactly,
okay.
in Urdu and Hindi. And so the idea for us was to fix a credit problem for the masses and for businesses by getting them access to capital now and lending now.
Okay.
So that was the original idea of it, and that's how we continue to build all our products as well, is when we want to be there now when you need us the most. Luckily, and it depends on the dialect, but I've been told as well in Arabic it means I want.
ABHI.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
So again, I wish I could say we were very smart.
Local Arabic.
Exactly. I wish we could say we were very smart and that we thought about that from beforehand. But when we entered Saudi and UAE, some from our Arabic speakers basically said, "Hey, by the way, do you know this is what it means?" I said, "Fantastic, so it works."
Amazing.
Yeah.
And your company has partnered with over 2,000 plus companies.
Correct.
Share the secret of the successful partnerships that you have done with these partners.
Yeah, look, I mean, for us at the beginning, it was very tough. It's weird. When we started the business, I thought that this was going to be easy business for us to be able to sell, because at the end of the day, we're giving people money. People want money. So what should be the issue with that? It was not easy. It was you're a new company, you don't have reputation in the market, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So there's a lot of our early partnerships within different sectors were very important to us, and we treat it as partnerships and not clients, because through their referral network allowed us to get to the 2,000 plus extra companies that we have now.
Okay.
Before, it was if we went to some meetings, they would laugh us out the room because we're a small company, no one heard about us. And so for us, the early wins were making sure it felt like a partnership. So that's why our model is always going through the business to help the employees as well.
Okay.
So that we look like we're partnered with the firm. The employees trust us to be able to provide them access to their earned wages.
Okay.
And so what we do is make sure that the benefits also are there for the company as well, who is our partner, as well as the employees. So the partnership aspect of it is very fundamental to us growing this, even in the UAE as well. When we partner with companies, it's truly a partnership. We're not looking to keep the lion's share, for example, of profits, for example. We share on the profitability. We try and make sure that both sides are incentivized to grow this into something large.
So you also work B2B and B2C as well.
Correct.
So it could literally be anyone, any company, any person.
Correct.
If you could share more details about this, especially with the audience that is watching us right now and do not have much information about this scope of field itself.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll rewind and explain exactly what the proposition is.
Yeah.
So what we started off with is a B2B2C offering. So always through the business to the employees with earned wage access. Now, what is earned wage access? EWA for short. What that means is your salary is 10,000 dirhams a month. Middle of the month, you have technically earned 5,000 dirhams. You have to wait till the end of the month to be able to get that money. But you may have bills that you need to pay. You may need to send money back home. You may have an emergency that happened, and you need access to that money now. But you cannot afford to wait till the end of the month for that to happen. Historically, what a lot of people did is they would go to their family and friends and say, listen, I've got an emergency. Can you please give me some money? And then at the end of the month, I'll pay you back when my salary comes in. The second one is you go to your company's HR, CFO, and say, can I get a salary advance? I really need it. I've come into a little bit of a problem. Can you help me out? Now, that is problematic in a few ways. One, if you think about it, people don't like asking for money. You don't want to ask your family and friends for money. You don't want to go to your boss and ask for money. Also, just it's personally, it just doesn't sit right. The second aspect of it is, if you think about it, if you've worked today, why should you not be paid today? Right? It's perverse way of thinking, but when you wait till the end of the month, you're actually loaning your company money for them to pay you, even though you've worked the 30 days.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So what is earned wage access? Ours is, we have a democratic belief that you as an individual, if you work today, you deserve to be paid today. So what we do is we tie up with your employer, and we allow you as an employee to be able to use our app, our WhatsApp service, two-way SMS. We have an call center as well. And you as an employee, every day of the month, you'll be able to see how much you've made till that point in time. Click a button and you get the money instantly.
Amazing.
Directly into your account.
What's the name of the application?
It's called ABHI.
ABHI.
Yes.
ABHI is the name of the application, and all users can download it on their mobile. Interesting. Can you elaborate more on the SME financing? Because we know that solutions like earned wage access and SME financing help to offer a variety of solutions. So can you just share more details about this?
Absolutely. So it's interesting. So you mentioned partnerships and companies we worked with, and we have a lot of the large ones. We have your Unilevers, et cetera, that are part of our customer base and partnership base. But if you look at the GCC, Pakistan, a lot of these countries, emerging markets overall, majority of the economy is actually run by small and medium-sized businesses, meaning people or companies that employ people less than, say, even 1,000 people, right? Many of them, especially in UAE, you go around, thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands upon businesses that employ a small amount of employees, but they are the driving force of the economy because they employ the majority of people. They're the ones who are doing the basic business that's required in the economy. But a lot of those businesses are not able to access basic credit because the large banks don't underwrite those businesses. They'll say, sorry, you're too small for us. We're not going to give you a loan. But if you think about it, those businesses are what drive the economy, but yet they don't have access to basic financial products to be able to help them grow the business. So say, for example, in some of the businesses we work with are merchants that sit on equivalent of your like Noon, for example. You're a merchant and you're selling, say, 100,000 dirhams worth of product a month. Now, you want to grow that to 200,000 dirhams. But for you to do that, you need to go purchase something to be able to then sell it on. But you don't have enough cash to be able to do that. So what we do is we're able to help those same businesses very quickly, so ABHI, for them to be able to get access to working capital from us to allow them grow that business and become larger. So that's where for the SME segment in all our jurisdictions, we really focus on that because, and the stat is, it's over 90% of GDP, as in of the economy, is made up of SMEs. But yet less than 4% of those SMEs have access to financing.
Wow.
So how can that make sense? If you want to grow the country and you want to grow the economy, these companies need to be uplifted. So that's really where we step in and help focus on that.
Amazing. So initially when you guys started, can you share some challenges? Before the success, there's always some challenges that companies have to go through. And then the switch happens and they become successful. Before the switch of success, what were some challenges that probably demotivated you at that time, but you kept going through and you're like, no, I want to proceed, I want to continue, and I want this company to become successful?
Yeah, look, so I'd say I'll push back a little bit and say that the success definitely doesn't happen like this. And I wish there was a flick and it just turns into success. I'd say we're still on the path to success. We're not. In my mind, we're not there yet, and we're still striving to keep on pushing forward. And so you constantly face pitfalls. I think when you're building a business, that's the biggest thing you need to be able to focus on, is being able to absorb the punches constantly, because it'll happen daily. So for us, and for me specifically, I'd say everything from the beginning to, as I mentioned, customers, for example, saying, "Who are you? We don't know who you are. Why should we work with you?" When we had the product that we knew they wanted. Okay. That was like some of the early. We had you have to get used to being rejected 95% of the time.
Wow, yeah, that's true, by the way.
So that's
that's the reality.
Exactly.
People only see like a successful person, share his success story, but they don't know the struggles, the pain, the push through that they had to go to become the person that they are today. I want to ask you, who was your support system?
Many. So family. So my wife, I've got 2 kids. So whenever I needed to switch off, that's a good place to go.
Okay.
My parents as well. But also, I'd say for me was going and speaking. And again, we went through a few different programs. One was called Y Combinator, which is a very large incubator in the US. They found Airbnb and Coinbase and a few others. It was a very good support system in the sense of you're surrounded by a bunch of entrepreneurs. And so everyone is going through that struggle. And sometimes, most of the time, worse than you. So it's a horrible thing to say, but you feel better when someone else is doing a little bit worse than you, because you're like, it could be worse. And so be happy where you are and keep on pushing to make it happen. So we're part of a few networks where we have access to very strong entrepreneurs who have built multi-billion-dollar companies, but can share their experiences along the way. So we're part of the Endeavor Network as well here in the UAE. We're, as I mentioned, Y Combinator. And so there are few networks that we can really rely on when times are tough, for us to say it's okay, it could be worse, and keep on pushing forward.
Amazing. What's one message that you would share with the young entrepreneurs watching us today that potentially one day want to have their own business similar to yours and they want to become CEOs? So what is one message that you would tell them right now?
Don't do it. It's no, joking aside, it's very tough. Every day you have numerous ups and downs. So you mentioned before, like success in a second, there's a flip point. There's no flip point, and you're constantly having to battle through it. So you have to understand that there is a struggle involved for you to be able to build something large. And so know yourself, know your weaknesses, and your weaknesses more than your strengths. Because you inherently will always know your strengths and lean in on that anyway. But you will only build something large if you know your weaknesses, so you can surround yourself with people who fill those weaknesses so that you can grow the business. And so I'd say to young entrepreneurs is, look, start early because you should get used to failure, because you will fail numerous times before you hit something that hopefully works. And also just know it's a long game. Nothing happens overnight. Yes, you'll have your rare cases of companies that overnight became a success just because whatever it may be. I don't know what the secret is over there, but that is not majority of the time. Majority of the time, 99% of the time, is you working hard, focus, and taking the punches, smiling, and pushing through.
And sleepless nights, for sure.
Absolutely.
How does ABHI try to differentiate itself amongst other competitors similar to your industry? How does it stand out?
So I think for us, we move very quickly. So I think in the last 4.5 years, we've really cemented ourselves as kind of one of the largest regional players. And that comes from a multifold approach of making sure that our product is what the customer needs. So we're constantly interacting with the customer and fixing the problem the customer wants. So we're very flexible in terms of how we provide that solution to them. We work very closely with them to understand what exactly their problems are and then ship it to market as quick as possible. The second aspect of that is saying, okay, when we understand that, now how do we grow that very quickly, and how do we back ourselves financially to make sure we can do that? So we've been one of the first fintechs, for example, in the region to be able to raise large debt financing to be able to fund the proposition that we're building. And the third most important part of it is we're in a very regulated sector. So a big differentiator for us versus going and setting up as a restaurant, for example, is the regulation is hugely enforceable. And if you don't abide by that, they can shut your company down. And so we're very focused. In fact, my meeting just before this was coming from the regulators. So we're very close to our regulators. We're licensed in all our jurisdictions we operate in. And we make sure we have that approach when we're building our business.
So as we initially were conversing together, you did mention that you started Pakistan, UAE, Saudi, and Oman. Where will we see you after Oman? Where would ABHI grow further than Oman?
Good question. Look, from day one, my co-founder Ali and I we have a grand ambition.
Okay.
Our grand ambition is to build an emerging market digital bank.
Okay.
And so that means everything from Nigeria all the way to Indonesia.
Okay.
That's close to around 20 countries that we want to have the ABHI brand known. We want to be able to provide our services instantaneously. We want to be able to service exactly the problem statement that we're servicing now, but internationally. And so when you ask me what country next, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, because similar to our path right now, we go where opportunity presents itself.
Okay.
And so when we see something that looks interesting, we think that could be good for the business, we'll get pulled in there. But I'd say if you fast forward, hopefully 5 to 10 years, we will build that international business where our name will be known across all these markets.
Well, we look forward to that for sure. And I don't think that your company is far away from becoming an international successful company, and not only known in the MENA itself.
Thank you.
Another question I want to ask you. So you do have something called referral programs. If you can elaborate more on those types of programs you have.
Yeah. So I sat with the team and I said, look, what we found is... and we did this in reverse. Like I said, you think earned wage access, our core product, is something which is intuitive, makes sense, right? Like
Correct.
An individual as employee benefits from it. The HR, CFO benefit from it because they don't have to manually deal with salary advances, etc. It should be a very simple thing for people to take on. But we found that there was actually a lot of pushback from different levels within organization, et cetera, and all that. So what we did, and this is how the referral program started, is we opened up our B2C product, which has said that anyone within a company, and we set a few companies, for example, on the app. So if you work within this company, you can just upload your salary certificates, and we'll give you your salary as you earn it. What that did is it allowed us to go back to some of these companies' senior management and say, look, this is how many of your employees are using our service. And if we were able to tie in with you directly and provide it as a service to your employees through you, it'll actually benefit them more because the pricing will come down. It'll be cheaper for them to access, et cetera.
Yeah.
That got us thinking further. And that's where we said, you know what? Everyone should be a referrer. So open this up to everyone. So what we did across all our markets is we launched a referral program. So anybody, you can be a employee, you could be an employer, you could be a writer, it doesn't matter. Anybody can refer a company or an individual to us who would be able to use our service. If that person is able to successfully get that person to become a customer and we're able to service them, there's a reward. So
what's the reward that you guys
So it can
give?
go up to 1 million dirhams.
Wow.
So in the UAE, it can go up to 1 million dirhams because it's all based on how big the company you bring on and how many transactions they're doing. So we have companies that do north of that. So you'd be making, we say, anywhere up to 1 million dirhams that you could be making.
So let's tell the viewers and the audience and the listeners that are watching us today to actually opt
Absolutely. Please.
They can make so much money.
Exactly.
Just by referring.
Exactly.
That's a great opportunity. Also, you guys were recognized as a technology pioneer by the World Economic Forum. What does this recognition mean to you and to the company?
It was a very humbling award that we got. We were the first fintech in the region to be awarded this.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Was this recently?
It was 2023, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Amazing.
So 2023 is when we were awarded it or recognized for it. We were able to attend Davos this year in Davos in Switzerland as one of the first companies as well from the region to be able to do that. And so it for us and for me specifically, it put a kind of stamp of recognition. That we're building something at scale that is of need and also that is setting a precedent for what disruption could look like in the markets that we operate in and globally as well. So we're creating a product and a tech company that is recognized globally, not just regionally. So it's something that we're very proud of.
And we're very proud of ABHI company as well. There should be a hashtag in Arabic that says hashtag ABHI. You know? Really, why didn't you think of using this hashtag, especially for the Arab market?
Done.
Yalla, hashtag ABHI.
Love it.
Amazing. So what role does financial wellness play in the workplace?
So if you think about it, it's something that's been picked up on, I'd say, in the last, decade or so, but really picked up in the last few years. What is financial wellness? It's very simple. And this is where in some other markets, like the US, for example, people are paid bi-weekly, meaning they're paid every 2 weeks. Financial wellness means that if you are not financially stable or aware as an individual within a company, your distraction level on your productivity then also increases. So, for example, say the example I gave you, that you're earning 10,000 dirhams a month, middle of the month, you don't have much savings, a bill comes up, but you didn't expect, you don't have the money for it, and you've got a deadline internally at the business, at the company you're working at. Now, how distracted are you on working on that deadline and delivery, whatever it is you're doing, versus trying to figure out how you're going to pay that bill, which is clearly an emergency for you that you need access to capital for. So financial wellness overall for us is the idea that, and this is why we say it's a democratic right for everyone to be able to access a salary as they earn it. If you work today, you deserve to be paid today. If you need access to financing now as an SME, you deserve to get it now. Why? Because if you are able to have ease of mind when it comes to your finances, it allows everything else to work a lot more smoother in your life.
Okay.
And so financial wellness for us is not just earned wage access. We tie it into other forms of salary insurance, into savings. How do you build your wealth and be comfortable and at ease when it comes to your financials so that you can perform better in your job function? If you own a business, just makes your life simpler.
I have a question I want to ask you, and I'm sure they want to ask as well. Have you ever rejected a customer or a business and said no? Absolutely. What were some of the reasons that caused that rejection?
Because one thing we don't want to do is push you over on the other side as well. There's a slippery slope of giving you access, and those who don't have access to financing, access to a small amount so that they learn what credit is and how to deal with it, etc. The flip side of that is if you give someone too much, it's like giving a 2-year-old a bunch of candy, right? Like,
of course.
You need to be careful of how much candy you give a 2-year-old. Same way, you don't want to turn on too much credit to someone who doesn't understand credit fully also, because you don't want to put a debt burden on them. You don't want them to suddenly have too much money that they owe other people, because then it causes the complete opposite. Financial wellness becomes exact problem that we're trying to solve. It just becomes this financial burden for them now. So that's where we are very careful of our underwriting procedure, of knowing underwriting means that basically we look at what your outgoings are, what your incomings are. If you have any other outstanding bills or credit cards, etc., we will check that beforehand. You as a business, have you already got loans out? Okay. Have you over leveraged yourself already? Okay,
right? So what are some of the requirements they must have for it to be approved?
So
the major requirements.
Look, the major requirements are, on the earned wage access side, is you must have a salary that's coming in. We would need to see, if it's a B2C product, we need to see that steady salary coming in. We need to know if you have any outstanding credit cards that you, or other forms of debt that you have, which we can do direct checks on, to be honest.
Okay.
If you don't have any of those on the debt side, then it's very easy for us to approve you.
I have a question. What if someone does not have savings?
Yes.
But they are getting a salary every single month.
Yes.
But one day they lost their job.
Okay.
What would they do in this situation?
So our product is always, it's always settled actually at the end of the month. So what it means is, it's the example I gave you, 10,000 dirhams is your salary. Middle of the month, you've taken out 1,000 dirhams.
Okay.
End of that month, you would get 9,000 dirhams. We would get that 1,000 dirhams.
Okay.
So it's not something, and this is why it's actually not considered a lending product or a credit product, because this is only till the end of the month. It's also only money that you have already worked for.
Okay.
And it doesn't roll over.
Amazing. That's a great thing. And I'm sure that they will benefit from the important information that you're sharing with us today. So if you could share with us, how did you fund this business and who are your shareholders?
Absolutely. So we've been very fortunate that we've been supported from the beginning by all institutional shareholders. We have the likes of, as I mentioned, from the region. We have Mubadala through Hub 71. We have Venture Souk and Global Ventures, which are two of the most renowned venture capital firms in the UAE, but also internationally as well. So we have from Saudi as well,
okay.
A few very large investors like Al Raida, which is a PIF-backed, very large Saudi fund, Saudi firm. And from the US as well, we have the likes of Y Combinator, Village Global. In Europe, we have Vostok Emerging Finance. We have Speed Invest. So we're very institutionally backed. We've raised over $30 million in venture capital funding to be able to build the business, and over $200 million in debt facilities for us to fund our balance sheet. So we're very institutional in our presence, and therefore that's why we kind of try and play in the big league.
Amazing. And so how can they connect? Through the website, you said, application?
Exactly.
Phone call?
Absolutely. All of the above. So if you go to our website, it has all the contact information. Our LinkedIn page as well has...
if you can share the website.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so www.abhi.ae.
Amazing. So from there, they can continue the process. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you and to get to know more about the face behind the business. Is there any final message you would like to share with our audience today?
Come on board. We're ready to serve you.
Of course. #ABHI.
Exactly.
So this was today's episode. Stay tuned to another successful, well-established business in the UAE and globally. For now, take care.